All right, we are back here with another episode of The Desert Shift. We were off last week. Apologies for that. As you can assume, college summer has been pretty freaking crazy here. I think last week, what did we have? 20-something assessments, just cranking them out. A lot of dudes getting better. So apologies on that. But we're back with another episode. Happy to be back. And today, another special guest, new pitching homie, Brewer Hendrix. Thank you very much for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure to have you. How's the time been so far?
It's a whirlwind here.
It's a lot.
College summer's crazy.
Yeah.
We had, like you said, a ton of assessments last week, and
Dude,
we've had more this week, and we're just out here grinding. It's been an awesome time, but head's spinning a little bit last week for week one.
Yeah.
And thanks for having me on.
Of course, bro. I think it's cool. Like, I think the Gargus did the first one. Obviously, our coordinator, homie, Grayson came on. I think you're the first guy that's been like, I think it was like week like 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's week 2.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. Like, you're already getting in here. That's really cool, though. I think it's a good thing to kind of get your outlook, your perspective on things, because you have a fresh set of eyes that like hasn't seen this before, and so getting your perspective is going to be really cool. And some of the questions I want to ask you. Yeah, like the first 2 weeks, that's like kind of how everybody talks about it, is like, it's like drinking from a fire hose. You're just being pelted with stuff. So like the onboarding, I'm sure, is just a ton.
Onboarding's a ton. Getting used to all the systems that are here. I mean, it's a ton of fun. None of it's like difficult, or it's just like, wow, there is so much more here than I even imagined.
Oh yeah. Like we said, the True Media, when you get the True Media account, you're able to look at stuff. Like, that's one of my favorite things. That when I first started, it was like, damn, like I got a True Media account. You could just go back. Like, I'm a big Padres fan, so I'd be able to go back, like, watch Robert Suarez throw a 4-seam fastball. It's just like unhittable. And I'm like, that thing's just gross, right? You can go in there, look at the Stuff Plus on it, look at the execution grade on it, and it's just like, damn, like, you know exactly what made that pitch gross. I think that's like one of the coolest things that we get.
It's hard to sleep at night because
you just want to go look at it.
I would just want to look at baseball stuff all day. I don't want to sleep. I just want to let's see how far I can stay awake and like just look at all this cool stuff that we have available.
For sure. The one thing I will say is, like, don't get lost in your sauce, because there are plenty of nights where I would stay up way too late and be like, dude, I came in the next day and I'm like, oh man, I'm so tired. Just from like, and it's good though. It's excitement. It means like you care about it. And that's obviously one of the big reasons we wanted you here, is just like, you care a lot. You obviously, you bring a pretty unique skill set as well. You've been an on-field coach, which we'll talk about a little bit. So yeah, it's been great so far. So tell me about like how you got here. Give the people a little bit of an introduction of who you are, how you got here, what your coaching experience has been, and just a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So started with Driveline in 2015 as an athlete.
Really? Yeah. Way back when?
One of the original like remote athletes.
That's so gas. Who was your coach?
My first one was Cody Aiden.
You had Cody Aiden?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is funny, because this is the first time I'm hearing of this. I lived at Cody Aiden's house when I trained in 2016, 2017. Yeah. Damn, that's really cool.
Yep.
Okay.
So guy that went to our church, his name was Scott Baker. He pitched for the Twins. He kind of put us in contact.
Sweet.
I had this incident when I was a sophomore in high school that I got hit in the back of the head by a line drive.
Jeez.
I was like, you know what? I should probably start trying to throw harder.
You're like, I'm serving up meatballs here. Can we get some Vila?
I'm getting hammered right now. I got to throw harder.
That's funny.
So he put us in contact. It was an awesome experience. I loved it. Ended up getting to go play at Mississippi College, Division II school in Mississippi. And then when COVID happened, I was still in college, and Driveline did an awesome thing where it was like pay like $199 a month. During COVID for the college athletes.
Yeah.
That's where I met Jackson Sigmund.
Oh, Siggy. Siggy with it. That's for sure.
Yep. And he was my trainer for all of COVID.
Yes.
And he was awesome to work with. I learned so much from him. I've never told them this before, but he was kind of the reason that I wanted to get into coaching.
Really?
He made me like really want to dive into like being a coach because of how much he cared about all his athletes, but specifically me as well.
Yeah.
Because originally I went to Mississippi College to have a degree in communications.
Okay.
So I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. I thought it'd be cool to be on College Game Day.
Sick. That's really cool, actually.
College Game Day is me and my mom's show. We would watch it every Saturday morning.
That's good.
So I was like, it'd be sick to be like sitting next to Kirk Herbstreit or like put on a mascot head.
Yeah.
Now they've got Pat McAfee, and he's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's pretty comical.
He's
that guy's an absolute show to see. Really funny. Damn, that's really cool. I didn't know you had Siggy. Siggy's like one of those guys that like within my first couple of months of working here was like, it's one thing to like just know the answer, right? But then like taking it a step further, that's something that I've always appreciated. Like I haven't had a whole lot of time being able to work with Jackson.
Yeah.
But he's one of those coaches that really does take it to heart, wants you to understand the what, the why, how this works. I remember like my first couple days, first couple weeks even being here, we had a chance to kind of hang out on the floor a little bit. And we were talking about like the hierarchy of needs and like, the pyramid of like, you have your rest and recovery being able to execute a program. And then at the very, very pinnacle, it's like supplements and all the little things that like they make you like 1-2% better, right? Everybody wants to go to the top because it's like the easiest thing. Drinking your BCAAs, having your protein, whatever it may be is way up at the top, but everybody ignores all the recovery. And I thought that was just like, he didn't just tell me recovery is important and like, hey, you need to recover. He was like, why does that matter?
How does that explaining the why?
Dude, it was so sick. So that's really cool. It makes me really happy that you were a guy that like trained with us and then ended up wanting a job here and then landing it. That's really, really sick. Where did you coach in? Because you coach college baseball as well, correct? Where did you coach at?
My last year at Mississippi College, I stopped playing. I was a student assistant there for a year. And then after that, went to the University of Louisiana, Monroe in Monroe, Louisiana.
Okay.
And my first year there, I was a GA, kind of helped out with all sports, got to travel with the baseball team.
Yeah.
My second year there, our director of operations left, so I kind of took over that role.
Really?
And then I was also doing all the analytics. It was kind of funny in my like meeting with the head coach, Coach Federico, when he was there. He was like, we're getting this thing called TrackMan, and like we don't really know what to do with it, so take it and do whatever you want.
Damn,
so that was like
really cool.
A crazy step of like, I get to do this, like I can do anything.
Yeah.
And you don't care.
Yeah,
like I can mess up and it'd be all right.
The castle, like right off the bat. Are you sure?
Yep. And it was awesome. It was a really cool experience.
That's awesome.
Me?
Yeah, for real. That's what I always like. I always laugh about that because it's like, the meme of the guy.
Oh yeah.
Me? Yeah, you buddy. You're like, yeah, we're gonna trust you with the keys. That first learning curve for that. Like, how was that? Like, did you just suck? Like, you can straight up just admit that. Like, I'll say it the same way. Like, there are plenty of times I look back at my coaching career. I'm like, geez, what was I thinking, man?
It was tough.
It was tough. Yeah.
That first CSV file that I saw, I was like,
like Egyptian glyphs, man. It's tough.
Yep. And it's just thousands of lines.
Yeah.
And that's when I really was like, I need to learn how to code. Like,
you know how to code?
I taught myself. Yeah.
Oh my good grief! Everybody in this world knows how to code except for me. Logan, our lead BioMech, the guy.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Dude,
he's incredible.
The GOAT. He's always on my ass about coding, and I always tell my guys like, it's the one thing I wish I could do, that and speak Spanish fluently.
Yeah, Spanish is like the next step that I think I want to.
I really wish I had coding in my back pocket.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yep. So using YouTube and a couple books, learned how to code with R. So that was kind of like,
that's kind of like the mother language of kind of everything, right? Kind of goes into Python, SQL.
Yeah, I think Python's kind of more like easy to learn. It's kind of more useful for real world stuff. But I'd heard that R would be better just for baseball
specifically
and analytics. Okay. So using that kind of built us our own little website or our own little shiny app.
That was sick.
And that took about 1.5 years, maybe 2 years to like really build out. So I helped with a lot with the pitching staff. Me and the pitching coach had a great relationship, so I helped out a lot with the staff, as well as I would do our offensive meetings. So I was building reports for our hitters going into games.
That's
spent
really
the last
cool.
year doing that before being like, you know what? I've always wanted to work at Driveline.
Yeah,
I've kind of got like it's a good time for it.
Sure,
it's kind of the best way to say it. I was kind of changing stages in life. Was probably going to leave ULM to try and find a real job anyway because I was still being a GA. And I was like, you know what? They're looking for an intern. Let's send it.
Throw that in the ring, man. I can't tell you how many times like people or guys that apply or somebody ends up with a position. It reminds me like I did this at a different facility when I had like just started coaching. Actually, it was going to be my first job in baseball in like 2021, I want to say, or 2020, right after like the middle of COVID. And I just like applied. My mom was like, you should apply. And I was like, I just feel like a moron. Like there's going to have so many applicants for this. There's no way I'm going to get an interview. And then I got a DM back on Twitter. I reached out to the guys like, hey man, I just want to let you know I sent in my resume. I just, appreciate any kind of feedback, even if it doesn't work out, just like anything that can help me like push it forward and give myself a better shot. And it was for an internship. And the guy actually like calls me, gets my phone number off my resume and goes, hey man, like, we don't really want to offer you the internship. I was like, hey, I mean, I appreciate it. Thanks for giving me a call. He's like, no, we'd like to offer you the full-time position. And I was like, what the hell? So just like not selling yourself short and being like, man, like, remember that Dunning, the effect thing of like, I know everything. I know nothing, but your knowledge base is actually getting better. It's like people sell themselves short really, really quickly. So
it's something I talked with Jackson with before coming here, I was like, man, like got somewhat even before coming, just like a little bit of imposter syndrome. And that's kind of how that's kind of how like you step into college baseball too. Like if you're a player, you step in, it's like these guys have been doing it for so many years. Like, how do I catch up so fast? And really, it's like what Jackson was telling me, was like, yeah, like it's a bunch of awesome dudes, but everybody's an idiot. Like,
yeah, we're all kind of dumb in our own unique way, for sure.
And you got here for a reason, and that reason was because they believe in you, they trust in you, 100%. And you gotta believe in that. You got to step into that ring and believe that you belong.
That's 100% probably the biggest thing. I know me and Gargus talked about that in a couple podcasts ago, was just like coaching confidence, man. I'm just being like, imposter syndrome doesn't really go away, but I think it comes from like good preparation and actually studying the material. But there are definitely days where I can look back, and even now, I feel confident in my coaching abilities, and I think a lot of us do, and I think a lot of the trainers do, and for good reason. But there are certain days where you're like, man, like because there is no absolutes in training. Like, there's no one thing that's going to make sure this guy gets better. If there's any place that's guaranteeing results, like it's probably not a very good place to train. We have a much better idea, I believe, here with our biomechanics models and some of the things that we do understand and know how to train, for sure. But there is no one way to say, like, you are going to throw 95. There's literally nothing there. And no place is ever going to be able to probably figure that out. Maybe. We'll see. But maybe I do think that, like we said, we sell ourselves short. We don't believe in ourselves. And then before we get there, it's like when you're pitching on the mound, you just like, don't give yourself the opportunity to succeed. So that's a really cool point, man. And like, don't worry that for any coaches out there, like that shit just doesn't go away. Like it's just one of those things that you're going to battle probably your entire coaching career. And at the end of the day, like you're going to find those athletes that are going to grab you and be like, hey man, like, thank you for all the hard work. And you're like, fuck, all right.
It's the most rewarding thing.
Yeah, dude, it's the best. Like when Juan left, I'm kind of germaphobic. I don't really like I'm not I don't like when somebody's sweating, and I just play basketball and the guy's sweating like that shit's just nasty to me.
He was the first live bet that I saw.
Yeah.
I came in and like toured on Friday before kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
He was throwing, I was like, this kid is unreal. And we just posted it on Instagram and Twitter. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. It was nutty. I don't think that anybody touched a baseball.
I don't think there was even I think there was like one foul ball or like a foul tip even. Maybe
it kind of looks like it goes off the catcher's mitt. It looks like he's swung and
okay. Oh yeah, into the cutter down and in. Yeah, it was a money pitch too. Yeah, like those guys, like he got done throwing, he's all covered in sweat after working out, and I was like, fuck it, dude. Like you dedicated so much time, effort, and energy. Like come give me a hug, man. Like I was like, fuck it. Those moments are so rewarding as a coach to just know that like that athlete. No, I don't like. Yes, the results are cool shit. Don't get me wrong, but like, knowing that athlete believed in you and was willing to put their career in your hand, and they saw some really great results with it. Oh my God, it's the best feeling in the world to know that like I'm not just a coach to that guy. I'm his friend. I'm somebody that he can lean on, and I will always be that way for a guy like that. So that's exactly right. That's really, really cool. So, dude, I wanted to touch on your college's their jersey. Those are some of the coolest damn jerseys I've ever seen. If you haven't seen it, it's
the P40 Warhawk uniform.
Dude, unbelievable.
Shark teeth on the side.
It was it's like the old school 1940s to 60s old school bomber jets that are just like so sick. They have a freaking jersey of that. I think that's the coolest damn thing. It reminds me of like the Army Navy kind of vibe. You know how they have like their military ones. I think those ones are awesome too. Like the Padres have a military salute one. I love those. I think that was like I'd never seen a college with that. I was like, damn, that is sick.
So the backstory to that was that the P40 Warhawk that was used in, I believe it was World War II.
Okay.
Was actually built in Monroe by a crop duster.
Yeah, you told me that.
He was like, let me just strap some machine guns to the front of this plane.
And
we're going to rock and roll. So we tried to pay homage, kind of just like a military appreciation uniform. We've had them before. When I got there 3 years ago, our pitching coach got there at the same time as I did from Maine.
Nice.
He was I don't want to say this incorrectly, but he was in the military. He was an Army Ranger.
Okay.
And so it was like we'd wear them every Sunday, try to just pay respect to the military. And the visiting fans probably liked it more than our home fans, because every time we went on the road, there were like Friday night game, we'd be at Coastal Carolina, we'd have some random fan come up to the dugout and be like, hey, are y'all wearing y'all's military jerseys? Like, we want to be here and take pictures of them.
Fuck yeah.
So they were well received around the country.
I thought they were awesome. I mean, I go back to like thinking about like even when I played or when I coached in indie ball, like I don't know about you, but like when the I don't care where you're at, when the national anthem plays, I still get goosebumps. Like if I'm at a field, I almost go back to like being on the field, and I'm like, I have a grandpa that served, I have an uncle, it's actually his brother, it's like my great uncle or something like that. Tremendous respect for the people that, lay down their lives for our freedom is like insurmountable to me. It's just like an appreciation that we can never put into words.
Exactly.
So to be able to see people like have respect for that is like super, super cool. And obviously the biggest reason being like the homage to the people that actually built it and probably helped win that war.
Absolutely.
Pretty incredible. So, man, that's really cool. I didn't know all this. Like this, to be fair for you people at home, like this is one of the first conversations that we're actually going to have because college summer has been so crazy. You've only been here 2 weeks. I feel like we haven't really gotten to know each other a ton within the 2 weeks that you've been here. Now it's like, what, Wednesday? This will probably be the first conversation that we've had for like a solid 30 minutes to an hour. Like, get to know who you are a little bit. Yeah. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So like, what's been like one of the biggest, like the coolest things that you've noticed about Driveline, like walking in? So being a remote athlete, like you probably had like, I know for me, like you have this idea of what it is to work here. What's something that like you just didn't see happening? Like something that you were just like, wow, that's what it's like on the other side of the coin. Like that's what that guy's going through, or that's what that guy has to do. Give me something.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing that I've seen is just the range of athletes that we get to work with.
Okay.
Because we post a lot about our high end guys, and rightfully so. They're awesome. I've seen a guy throw 100 here. We've had some mocaps where they're throwing 70 to like young kids. During the week, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, we've had like the real young kids, the flex kids.
The academy. Oh, God dang it, I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, it's like academy flex.
Yeah, so the academy flex stuff.
Working with them is a ton of fun because they're like still new to the game, and so it's like
the game.
All they want to do is really like compete, and they want to do it all. So me and Grayson kind of get to work with them for 30 minutes on pitching. We've been playing a lot of games with them. Like here's your target. We're gonna be super athletic, roll you a ground ball, make a throw.
That's awesome.
And seeing them get to compete against each other is a ton of fun. I think that's something that you don't really realize, especially as a remote trainee, is like the vast opportunity that you have here to work with all sorts of different levels of athletes,
ranging from a big league guy all the way down to a 13-year-old that like maybe might be his first time throwing a baseball.
Exactly.
Like, I just like this game. It looks cool. Can you help me? Yeah. No, I agree.
Sometimes we take for granted like, here's how a pivot pick works, and like we get our college guys in. It's like we've been doing this since I was in elementary school. I've done a pivot pick all before, and then you get your flex kids, and sometimes even those college guys that are pretty new to plyo balls. Where it's like, I've never done this before. This is uncomfortable, and then you're like, wow. You sometimes take for granted like the intricacies and the skills that it takes to actually execute these drills that we have for them to do.
There's somebody that stands out with this is. I have an athlete that is remote with me right now, and he's definitely expressed interest in like maybe working at Driveline in the future. When it's my biggest recommendation with that is like make sure your playing career is over, just because you don't want to end up giving 50% of yourself to your job, which are also your athletes, which is really, really tough. And 50% to your career. It's like, you don't want to be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So he's like, I told him like, after your career's over and you're done playing, like definitely explore it. But in the meantime, there are things that you can do. And he's been training these youngins back home. And I was just like, man, if you can train a 12, 13 and 14-year-old, you can keep them engaged and you can get them to like actually do the drill or accomplish the task really, really well. You can train a college, a big league guy, a minor league guy really fast because their body awareness, their proprioception, their motor skills are just so advanced and elite that like very typically you can tell them one little thing or manipulate a drill just very slightly and it just like alters the entire throw. For those guys, like you really got to be pretty detailed with them or otherwise you're going to get a huge range of throws depending on what
you've got to be really well at explaining thoughts,
exactly.
You may think about it one way and then you explain it and they do it something completely different. You're like, okay, I've explained this extremely poorly.
Yeah, exactly. I think about it as like if you can get a 12-year-old to accomplish a pivot pickoff, dude, when you get to a 30-year-old all-star, like, oh God, it's going to be cake. You're like, they're like, that's it? It's like, yes. And then they do it and you're like, God bless, I know what I'm doing. Thank you.
It makes you feel good about yourself.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny. So yeah, man, that's really cool. So like the wide range. Yeah, I think, dude, the college summer has been interesting because I think we've seen some elite arms kind of. I mean, this is going to be like my 4th or 5th college off season now. I think it's maybe 6. I don't know. It's getting up there now. I'm getting a little older, but dude, I've seen some arms come in here. Like shout out Luke House, a guy that's pitching in the draft league right now. Oh my God. I mean, the guy just moves so damn well. And I'm like, dude, like there are little mechanical things here, but I'm not working with a whole revamp of like, we got to just change everything. It's like, let me just tweak this little thing. Let me just turn the volume up over here, turn this one down a little bit. It's very, very minute things. And then I get a text the other day from him and it's like, hey man, check out this video. And he's sitting, I think his lowest was 89, and he topped out at 93. Threw a split at like 86,
which he had learned like the week before.
Like I was like in pitch design, I'm like, yo, he's 6'7", so he's got big ass hands. I'm like, dude, I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, yes, you throw an okay changeup. It's so. let's just try a split.
Pretty tall slot, I think, like pretty high release height.
Like right, a little bit higher than 3/4 probably.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, just like grip it, rip it. That's kind of it. Let's just see what it does. The first one he threw was at 0 and 16, and I was like,
yeah, it worked.
Hello, check it out. Like, look at this shit. Look at how cool this is. And it's hilarious because like a lot of guys, they just haven't been exposed to TrackMan very much. They're like, is that any good?
Was it good?
Yeah, like, is it good? And I'm like, you don't even understand what the fuck you just threw. Like, that's unbelievable. You threw it 85, 84 or whatever in a bullpen. Yeah. That's unbelievable. That's like really good. And so it's always really funny to like the blank expression almost like, is that good? And then just have nothing. And then you go, yes. Yeah. And like, nice. And then if you're like, maybe not, they're like, damn it. And they got to redo it, go to the drawing board. So, dude, the range of guys that we've had has been really cool. But the one thing that always remains true for like majority of them, and I'm sure you'll attest to this, is like, even in the short time you've been here, every guy is so fucking eager. They all are very similar in that sense that like all of them just care about getting better. They're like, just name what I need to do and I will do it.
And they're so locked in when they come in.
Oh my God, the attention to detail this summer. I don't know if it's just like this group or this year or the athletes are just getting more keen to it or whatever it may be. They're just getting better at understanding like attention to detail. The little things matter a ton. How you take your recovery, managing your workload, wearing your pulse, little things that, maybe it was just like my time of like, it was so new and it was something that like, pulse, whatever. Dude, now based off of like all the things that we know and all the research we've done, it's so vital. I think people are really starting to buy into that and it's awesome to finally see it in person.
We've had a ton of guys come in on their recovery days and like crush the recovery day, which for me was always the hardest thing.
Yeah, it's because it's monotonous. You know, it's not the most like
same thing every other day.
Exactly.
I don't get to rip a plyo ball as hard as I can, but it's honestly the most important part of their week. Like
100%.
And they're asking awesome questions too. It's not just the fact that they're coming in and doing it and like they want to be here, but they're asking questions about
why am I doing this? Yeah, that's like the coolest part for me because like we said earlier, like the way that you just get better at like imposter syndrome, right? Like for me was like teaching other people about it and like failing a little bit and then having those questions and being like, damn, it's a good question. I don't actually know. That encouraged me to be like, damn, the next time somebody asks that question, I want to know. I better be able to provide an adequate answer that person feels like they can trust me. And being able to like research that and then come back to them and be like, here's the answer. I think that's really, really fun. And it teaches, as us as coaches, I tell my athletes all the time is like, challenge me, ask me why. Yeah. But when it comes down to it, know that like sometimes, like if I don't have a reason behind it, like that's not good. Very, very, very rarely is that ever going to be the case. Like we have too much data, we have too much technology at our
and if we don't know, we'll usually go find out.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, great question. Let me get back to you tomorrow. And then we figure it out, right? Yeah. So yeah, I love when our athletes is like, I don't know if it's, like I said, just the summer or what's going on, but I've probably had the last 5 meetings I've had. I think you sat in on one of them. It's just like, even the athlete's dad sat in there. It was like, why does that work like that? Like,
what the parents want to know too,
dude. It's sick. It's like rightfully so. They're sending their son somewhere. They want to come train. They're
paying the money. They want to know why and how we're going to get them better.
Super cool. So I think that's like a huge thing for buy-in, executing a program, and then also just like getting the most out of your training. You have to understand this shit. So really, really cool. All right. Give me what else? So your first week was like just crazy as hell, I can imagine. What's been your favorite thing so far? What's been like you're like, damn, like that's like the one thing I can't wait to get into.
Yeah, the Skelly viewers, awesome. As well as like,
Logan, bro.
Yeah, again, another shout out. Can you imagine? Logan.
Pause real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. Logan-ness is 21 years old.
Yeah.
And built the damn thing himself.
Yep.
He actually sent me a hilarious meme. I think it was it Memorial Day or Veterans Day recently? I'm terrible with that.
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
Yeah.
He sent me a Skelly playing at a field, and it hits a home run, and it has a Army helmet on, salutes, and it said like Memorial. It had like a American flag in the background with fireworks. I'm like, what are you doing with your time here, buddy? And it's just really funny. Like the guy is 21 years old. Like he's going to change. I firmly believe this. Like I love working with a guy like that because like that dude, no matter what time of the day, he's going to call me. I'm going to have a great conversation with him. And it's just like incredible to see what his knowledge base can help us with. Yeah. So sorry, but I had to give Logan a shout out. It's incredible what that guy is capable of doing.
The other thing is like the Edge internal software that we have. Is a ton of fun because I've been able to go back and like, I want to see like how my website did.
Yeah.
And if things were correct on there. So I've been able to go in and take some like the old CS Visa games from throughout the year and like plug them into that.
That's really cool.
I was like really close with this metric that I was working on.
Nice. So like being able to like feel it and be like, I just missed it there, but I was good here. That's really cool.
Been able to do that a little bit behind the scenes. That's been fun. And then of course the mechanical breakdown. the BioMech after
Oh
recaps
man,
is just so much fun to dive
it's
into.
so much info.
It
I think
is.
it's like a shock to a lot of people, and that's why I like. I'm sure you noticed it in the meetings.
That's why our athlete meetings take an hour.
Is sometimes because I don't want my guys to feel like, I understand like training sometimes it's a financial thing that like I get it. I want you to understand all of this information. Like this might be the 1,000th mocap that I do, right?
Mhm.
I'm gonna go quick. There might be things that I want to go over because ultimately you care about getting better. You don't come here to get told how great you are, right? You
Right.
get told here is like, I want to get better at this game. So I always tell my guys like, hey man, this might be my like 500th mocap, whatever. This is your first one. Don't be embarrassed to be like, I don't like just right hand up. Like, I don't understand this. Can you put it simpler or can you make it easier for me to understand or whatever the case may be? I always start off my meetings like that because I think it creates an environment it's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be like, I don't get it or I don't know. I think when athletes get into that room and they're like, God, I don't want to sound dumb. When you're in the back of the class, you're like, I don't want to ask anything.
Right.
Dude, you have to. It's your career. Like you need to understand this stuff.
Absolutely.
So it is a lot of information, but it is really, really damn
The other stuff that's fun to dive into is like the prior studies that have been done here because there's so much research that's been done at
What
this
have you
place.
found? Give me a fun one.
We talked about it a little bit the other day about I was diving into the command one.
Oh,
Just about how there's no such thing as like repeatable mechanics.
Nope.
And so you've got to be really good at compensating.
Yep.
So I think we discussed this about how I was thinking about like the best kind of command guys that I've known have also hit from the opposite side. So they've had to practice rotating.
Yeah, you did tell me about this.
And that was true for myself, not to my own horn. That was like the only thing I was good at.
Yeah, like I couldn't throw the ball, but I know where the fuck it's going.
Exactly.
That's a
I
good
could not throw hard, but I knew where it was going.
That's hilarious.
You think about Jacob DeGrom. He's a left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower. He's a pretty good commander of the base.
Same way.
Left-handed hitter.
Command stuff. It's been a little while with the TJ, but that's a really interesting thing. I think we talked about that. I was like, I never thought about it that way.
Yeah.
To like train rotation to one side, rotation to the other side, like having a really good, because to go off of that, I think we talked about this when our I believe it was Jack Lambert in baseball operations, a couple other folks that I'm sorry if I butcher it and I don't get it right, but I know Anthony was involved in it as well. When they presented that to Sabre, it's like the biomechanics conference basically. It was really important that one of the bigger correlations we saw, hopefully I'm getting this correct, is like our torso positioning is very important to be in approximately the same area every time. However, it's very good to have variability in the lower half and let these guys kind of organize and get into great spots. Did you sit on the motor learning book club yet, or is this going to be your first one?
This will be my first one. I've got to sign my waiver.
Sign your waiver, bro. Sign your waiver.
But I've gone back and looked at the old ones. So
dude, like that was something that was
up.
really interesting to me. Was like, there's no such thing as repeatability. Actually, the people that end up doing, I think it was the blacksmith one, and I know there was a little bit of talks about that one being debunked or whatever. But the thing still holds true is like repeatability actually isn't really a thing. It's variability that actually allows you to be scalable to like still accomplish the task well. So
exactly.
Those blacksmiths basically as a background were like, they thought back in the day, I think his guy's name was Bernstein, and he was like talking about, they wanted to look at like how people could forge it was like swords basically as blacksmiths to see like why were they so good at it. And when they thought, the original hypothesis was like, okay, they're very repeatable, they strike it the exact same way, the exact same intensity every single time. After running some tests, he actually learned the most skilled and expert sword makers were extremely variable and had almost little to no repeatability in their movements. Same can be said for throwing, and I think that'd be something super sick for you to get into. You should look into it more. I think that'd be a really cool little like what we call maybe not like a good to learn, but like a passion project for you of like, I'm just interested in this, and take the time to look up some research and find some really cool stuff on that.
If we can train rotation of the opposite way and it improves command, that'd be pretty sick.
God, we got to pitch that one. That fires me up because, like, within 2 weeks of being here, bro, you're already looking into this shit. Like, this is why we hire people like you, man. We need people that are like, you know what? There could be absolutely nothing under this rock.
Yep.
Maybe.
But I'm going to find out.
But yeah, it's like, I might find gold. I might find dirt. But, like, I'm never going to know unless I try. And I think that's the damn coolest thing. So,
don't be scared to fail.
Bro, Kyle said that to us in a meeting a couple months back, was like, leave room for you to fail. It's okay to fail. With failure, you learn. If you don't even put yourself out there, you're just going to like end up dying nameless, and there's going to be nothing there. And it's just kind of like a big what if. I don't want to live in the what ifs of my life. I'd rather send it and fail than sit on the sideline and be like, that could have been great, but I never was because I didn't try this. Yeah, exactly. Sweet. What questions do you have for me? What are things that have been like interesting about the training here so far or working here? Do you have anything for me that you're like, man, like why do you do that? Or how does that work? Or what's going on
I
there?
mean, there's a lot that we could jump off the deep end.
Give me one. Give me one easy one for the folks at home that they can kind of take away. And I feel like usually we go, it'll go like me peppering with questions.
Yeah.
Hit me back. What do you got?
You asked me this morning to come up with one for you. This is kind of unrelated to like something I've seen here. What was the biggest challenge? You were a Driveline trainee before working here, right?
Yeah.
Biggest challenge transferring from athlete to coach.
Oh man. It's a great one.
I think because there is a big difference between people that work out here and that are baseball players sometimes do make the best coaches, but that also a lot of guys believe like, oh, I can just coach because I played.
Oh man,
and there's a lot that goes into it.
Exactly,
that is not talked about enough.
It's not coaching based off of your experience. Just because something worked for me doesn't mean, I think I did this when I was a lot younger and like my first couple years of coaching was just like, I coached a lot of guys based off my own experience and how I interpreted information and how I moved. Yeah. I just figured I was like, hey, it worked for me. Like it's probably the right quote unquote cue to work to fix it for everybody. Like one really bad one that I remember vividly was I used to think about my back leg as like a screw. So like when you're screwing something in, it screws into the ground, tension, and then it unscrews, right? Dude, that's a horrible way of thinking about it. Oh my God. I was like, why the fuck did I do that? And it kind of worked for me. It made sense, right? And it threw okay hard, not that hard. But then I'd give it to an athlete and I'm like, why does it look so bad? Like, what the fuck? It probably took me a good 6 months to just be like, man, I'm coaching an individualized person more so than anything. You have to coach the person. You're not coaching based off of like what worked for you. I think that's a really big common flaw for a lot of coaches when they're first starting is like, if it worked for me and it worked for one guy, it probably is going to work for everybody. Probably not. I tell this guy, I tell this to a lot of my athletes in our meeting is like, janitors might be the drill that fix this. However, maybe not. If I have 5 guys in a room, I give them all janitors. Everything else held constant. I cue it the exact same. I could get 5 totally different throws, 3 great ones, 2 dog shit ones. All that I care about is that it's training the right quality and characteristic that I'm trying to exhibit in their throw dynamically. That's all I really care about. So I think that took me a little bit of time to like kind of get over.
Yeah, that goes into kind of like what we try and do here early on in a relationship. You got to build the relationship with the athlete so that you can translate what you're trying to say into something that they understand. Yeah, because we may have 5 different guys and we're trying to get the same thing out of them, but we've got to explain it 3 to 5 different ways.
Oh yeah, that's like the little sauce at the end of like, I can't just throw this at everybody and just say like, hey, you need to do this one thing. Like when you think about coaching the person, you coach the inputs, not the outputs. Like the outputs are cool because it's the radar gun, it's that, it's the objective feedback, yes, but there's also objective feedback in like, what am I giving this person? What is this athlete like? I had one recently with a guy and it was like, why did this happen? Like, what was your thought process here? How did we go from this throw, which was very good, to this throw, which is not very good? What did you feed the input there? What was that? Long story short, ends up coming back. Guy just like had a couple messed up thoughts in there. And I was like, man, doesn't it make sense now? That context is huge for me because now I'm not going to ever use that same cue or I'm never ever going to like tell that guy to go back to that type of drill because it clearly made a negative compensation for that athlete. Right. So yeah, just like not getting a bunch of context and then not coaching on your own experiences is like really, really easy way to put it. Yeah. So nice. Good question. Good question. All right.
I got another one.
What you got? Yeah. Hit me. I love it. I love it.
All right. So this is obviously I'm very early in my time here, my career here.
Okay.
When did you kind of feel like, not that you belonged, but like your head was above water? Because we explained earlier of like, your first couple days here is like, you can feel like you're drowning sometimes.
Ooh.
When does there ever come a point when you're here and you're like,
I really
feel good.
I don't know if this is possible, but I tell Colin, who's the producer behind this, does all the camera stuff for those that don't know. Colin Curtis is the absolute GOAT, to show that graph of like, I can't remember, I think it's like the Dunning whatever effect of like, I feel like in the beginning, I actually was pretty upset about having to take an internship here. And the reason why is I had worked in pro ball already. I had already kind of gone through coaching 2 pro off seasons. And I was kind of like, why do I have to intern here? Like, that doesn't make sense. And then I got here and I was like, Wow. I really, really needed to. It was a lot to take in. Like you said, my first couple weeks was just like, holy shit. There's a different level to this stuff than I even thought there even was. So like I had to take a step back in my own ego and being like, man, like put that shit away, burn it, throw it to the side. Just be an open book and be a sponge again and be ready to learn.
Yeah.
I don't know if it ever like goes away of like where I start to feel comfortable. I think I just start to, the more that I'm around you guys, like so you, Gargs, all the guys that are in the pitching side and even the HP side and the hitting side, it's just like being around good people, helping me like remind me that like, dude, you're a good coach. And having my athletes give me that feedback always really helps me. I feel like it just comes from a place of big care though, that like I'll always question myself. And it's probably a negative in some ways, but I feel like at the end of the day, it's what keeps me on my toes to like continue to push myself. Otherwise, I don't ever want to be, it's my fear. My fear in coaching and just in life is becoming like if I'm sitting in this chair, it's like, I don't want to be comfortable. The more I'm comfortable, the more I feel like I'm losing. There's somebody out there that is doing it better than I am. And when you're around a bunch of people that are constantly doing that, shout out Gargus, shout out, Grayson asks great questions of me. You have asked a lot of really great questions. It's like, damn, I better be on top of my game. I better be prepared and I better be like on top of my shit and continuing to learn. Otherwise, I don't want to be the old head at the end of the day. Shout out Moneyball, adapt or die, bro. I don't want to be the guy that's at 30. I know what I know. In 3 years from now, I want to hopefully look back and be like, damn, I'm a totally different coach and in a good way. So
you getting in here and as an intern, I kind of really enjoy that like everybody starts as an intern.
Yeah.
But you kind of realize like why this place has become what it is.
Good gravy.
Like,
it's
like,
lot.
the athletes want to be here and get better.
Oh, yeah.
And they have great coaches and everybody that works here is awesome to work with. They're great communicators. They're really intelligent, but they also have not ever settled for what they know. Everybody here is trying to learn more.
Oh, yeah.
Even with all the information that we have, it's always like, what else can we learn? It's just like a constant state of learning, which is awesome because you're going to die if you don't do that. If you don't take into something,
probably.
If you don't try and learn something every day, at some point it's going to get stagnant.
Yeah, and I think there's a good little bit of like grace period for yourself where it's like take a deep breath, step back, and realize like give like you know what, nobody just like picks it up and within a month is like the fucking go, right? Like I like to think of us as like an all-encompassing, like even though yes we have you have your assigned trainer, right? Like I encourage all my guys to work with all of the pitching trainers.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody has their own unique perspective and can, at the end of the day, ultimately get my athlete better. I don't really care what happens. That's called training with Driveline. It's not Daulton Barry Enterprises, right? It's Driveline baseball. That's all of us. So when you have the confidence in your teammates to like go out and do that and have your ass and have your back to coach a guy, dude, it's awesome because if you're around a bunch of people that don't settle for being mediocre, and if you're mediocre at that time, you're either one, going to get weeded out really quickly here, or two, you're not going to be mediocre very long because you're going to be embarrassed when, like you said it the other day, you're trying to find a time when Gargus is not here.
Yep. I beat him this morning.
You beat him this morning?
Yeah, he had to go to the grocery store.
See, I mean, he would have been here though.
Yeah, he would have.
Like, dude, that guy is here from 8 a.m. and we don't open till 9 till like 7, 8 at night. And it's just like the dude is a grinder. Why? Because he fucking loves it and he genuinely cares about improving himself for the betterment of his athletes and ultimately the betterment of this company as well. So yeah, I think it's like it's impossible to find another place that like you're gonna find. I think there's how many of us pitching trainers now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like 5 of us right now. Dude, good luck finding another 5 that are gonna go toe to toe with us. Like I bet you there's a lot of dudes out there that just train their guys. They punch the clock. 9 a.m., 3 o'clock, it's over. I know we talked about our nightly routines.
Yeah.
Our asses are just crazy obsessed with this shit. Like I know I go home, I hop on my computer and I'm looking at
the nightly routine is go home and look at more baseball.
Basically. I remember in the beginning when I started, my girlfriend was just like, can you just stop working? Like what can we enjoy some time together? I'm like, you're right. I need to be able to have a fine line of like I love my job, but also like I need to enjoy the people that I'm only here for a finite amount of time with. So yes, that is a phenomenal thing that I truly, like I said, find 5 other motherfuckers to come challenge me. You don't, Joey Diaz, dude. You know who Joey Diaz is? He's like, you motherfuckers think you need 15 people. Give me 3 motherfuckers. You know, and he's like, I need you 5.
Give me 3 of the boys.
Get on, let's go. We're gonna go far as a team. And I think that's something that I love about Driveline. It's just like a phenomenal place of having other dudes that are gonna push me to be a better coach.
And the camaraderie here is awesome.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I want guys to like go ask Brewer this. You might not have the answer. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Good. You're going to grow.
Push me to be better.
You're going to grow as a coach. My athlete's going to be comfortable asking you questions. That's phenomenal. I'm not the all-seeing eye. I don't know everything. What the hell? Like, you guys have really great things to say. They need to go trust you and go do that. So
culture here is incredible.
Love that. I love to hear that, because that's something that me and Garix take a huge pride in. Like, I
push
know
each other to be better, and we have a good time doing it.
110%. You got to be able to laugh. You got to be able to smile. We have some pretty funny conversations as well. All right, we're coming down to the end of it. However, I want to introduce a new thing for this podcast. I'm hoping to have this every week now. Each one of us is going to shout out an athlete. I have my guy in mind. I want, it can just go as blandly as like, hey, I'm seeing this guy's work. I want to shout him out. I just want to say, man, he's working hard. Whatever you want to say about him. But I want each of us to have a guy that we shout out and just enjoy and praise them for what they have done, either in gym, remotely, if it's a PR, whatever it may be. Just give them some love, and hopefully, they see this and they're able to watch it and be like, man, that's really cool that we recognize that stuff. So hit me. Who do you got? What's your guy?
I told you this morning I had my guy.
And I told you, don't tell me.
This guy, he's a big locker room guy.
Big locker room guy. Okay.
Guys that you got to have around in order to have a successful program. He's not my athlete. He's actually, I believe he's Grayson's. I don't have an athlete, so I don't have one that I can choose yet. But this guy's going to be Trent Smith.
Smith.
If you've gotten to work with Trent,
I have not yet.
So he is on a return to throw program.
Oh yeah.
Junior college guy from Alabama. He's kind of like, at first it was almost feeling like he was getting dragged in here by his friend Garrett.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it was like, no, this guy wants to be here. And the reason I choose him is because he has a great attitude every single day, even for a return to throw guy who just today got to make his throws.
That's awesome.
Last week he was coming in and he was like, I was like, what you got today, Trent? He's like, I get to make 5 throws today. We're like,
baseball.
He was like, yeah, I get to make 5 throws today.
He's just ecstatic.
And he's excited about it. He's got to do his Flex Pro Grip workout. He's like, my forearm is killing me because this thing is just crushing me.
Yeah.
And he's enjoying doing that.
That's awesome.
And I think it was Friday of last week he came in. I was like, Trent, what you got today? 5 more throws? He goes, no, bro. I get to make 10 throws today. How excited is that? And he was fired up to do it. And he's at a point where it's like, kind of how all return to throw guys get. He's like, please, can I make some more? Like, I feel so good. Like, please let me make more throws. And he's doing a really good job.
The rails on him.
He's doing a really good job of just making his throws for the day.
That's perfect.
And he's comes in every morning, usually between 9 and 10 is when him and Garrett come in together. Garrett's getting his work in, grinding, but Trent's always there to have a fun conversation with. He's talking to all the guys that are in there, making friends. That's honestly what we're here to do as well, is build some friendships and get better at baseball.
That's one of the coolest things to hear, man, because it's like at the end of the day, I still remember some of the guys that I trained with. I might not talk to them as much anymore, but I can definitely say the guys like Carson Lindell, Herbie Good, Albertus Barber, guys that I trained with that I was just like, man, those are some homies of mine that I know no matter how far I go in life, where they go, I know I can call those guys and be like, that you remember the time that we spent together to like kind of some crazy dumb shit sometimes, but like we just knew we cared and pushed each other. That's really awesome. Shout out. I thought his name, I misheard it. I thought it was Brent. It's Trent. Okay. Trent Smith. I have seen him. Phenomenal guy. I'm glad. That's a great shout out. Shout out Trent Smith.
Always wearing a jersey.
Yeah,
jerseys
on the back. I love it. Yeah, man, it's really cool. I love that. A return to throw is so mentally exhausting. I had Tommy John myself, and like, it is a physical and mental grind. It's so hard to go out there every day, be excited. 5 throws doesn't seem like a lot, but I promise you, by the end of it, he's like, he's not going to take those 5 throws. Or when he gets back to fully healthy and we're able to help him get there, he's not going to take that for granted anymore. That's an awesome shout out. So good shit, Trent. The one guy I wanted to shout out is Peyton Denny. If you know, left-handed guy, yes. Nice. So I've talked about him a few times on here. We had a phenomenal day this morning. I mean, just such a good kid.
Yeah.
Very understanding. I told him, I'm not going to be the greatest coach all the time. I'm going to fail as a coach, and I need you to work with me. I want you to push me as a coach and bear with me, right? Mm-hmm. And he has followed me to the depths of, everything to just be like, let's do it. Let's do it. And I can positively say there were some things that I didn't do great as a coach, and that's okay. I have to learn from those mistakes at times. He has been so open-minded, willing to put in the work, and I'm telling you, when there is nobody else in this gym when there are things that need to get done, that dude is cleaning up the plyo wall on his own. That dude is picking up weights on his own, even after other athletes that might leave them out. The willingness to learn, to fail. The reason I want to give him this shout out is because not only did he believe in me as a coach, but also in himself of like, he's had Juan Radusco, who we obviously post on Instagram, had a huge, I think he mo-capped originally like 78, left it at like 86, something like that. Yeah. Really, really great. That was his training partner. How hard is it to see your best, one of your best training partners just go up and you're kind of like, dude, where am I going? Yeah. He kept his head down. Today, it was a great day. He threw a weighted ball mound velo with me. Yeah. We obviously did a lot of prep work over the last 2-3 weeks.
He had him shaking his hips today.
Dude, I know. He was having a lot of fun. We put on Nelly Furtado. He was having way too much fun. I was like, gosh damn it. Like, now I got to take this video and I got you dancing in the middle of it. And then
shaking hips.
Yeah, I was
like,
throwing
90 miles an hour.
Right?
Trying to.
Damn. Yeah, not 90. Not 90. No rounding up. 89.8.
8.
Yeah. But dude, those are 2 massive PRs. He's been really great at throwing the heavy balls, 6 ounce at like 80. Just always really good at those. And then get to the baseball and the underload stuff and just really be not great at it. It was very, very frustrating for a long time. Yep. So today to see him throw a 5-ounce baseball 84 in the middle of being taxed in the middle of a velo day, a 4-ounce 88, 87 or something like that, and then a 3-ounce 89.8, he was ecstatic. And I think it was a cool part for me to see, like, coach the inputs. It's really easy to just slap plyo velos and pull downs on a guy and say, well, why aren't they working? It's like, well, what did I do to help that athlete get into better positions? Did I look at it from the right lens? To see that all come to fruition today, like, it was really, really awesome to work with him. And I'm going to continue to, hopefully.
He's such a cool kid, too.
He's an awesome
still needs to get the football off our roof, but
that's dude, when he came in,
supposedly he'd throw a great ball and it ended up on the roof.
Fucking roof, man. He goes, dude, I felt like Russell Wilson. I'm like, that's
the best throw I've ever made in my life with a football. Why
is
it on the roof?
Perfect spiral though. I was like, damn, that's 50% cool, 50%. God damn it, now we have a fucking football on the roof and it's GG's up there. So, yeah, man, great kid. Like I said, just one of those kids that I'm very, very grateful to train, and I'm just so happy he gets to train at Driveline. So, Peyton Denny, Trent Smith, you guys are our 2 shout-outs this week. Thank you guys for all your hard work. Keep it up. We're very thankful for you guys trusting us with your careers and letting us work with you guys. So thank you. Also, Peyton's dad works here. Field. Yeah. Talk with him. Awesome dude. Guy. Just talk with him. Loves Nebraska football. Just an absolute homie. Understands
about MLB The Show the other day.
Dude, ups and downs of training. That dude's just like, yep, I get it. He ain't going to PR every week. Let's just keep getting after it. And I'm like, yep, that's a good understanding father right there that's going to support his son and honestly, like, but a good environment for him to train him. So any questions for me, man, or anything you want to say? You got family, girlfriend, anything like that you want to shout out, say hello to, and be like, yo, thanks for watching?
Mom and dad probably going to watch. So
hell yeah.
Shout out mom and dad out in Florida.
Where in Florida?
Pensacola.
Nice. Hell yeah. Cool.
So out on the beach. Dad's probably going to watch.
Lovely.
Sand in the toes.
Sand in the toes. Cerveza potentially in the Tama Bahama chair. That's wonderful.
And then girlfriend, she told me that we were going to have to watch it together. So nice. I don't like watching myself back because my voice sounds weird.
Me too.
Probably everybody has that. So she was like, we're going to have to sit down and watch it together. I was like, okay, I will.
I'll do it for you. That's just what you do for love. You're like, all right, I'll do it for you. It's like playing pickleball with me.
I'd like to say hello to your mom as well. She said you told me that she lived.
My mom is
Saturday morning, so
religious. Text me yesterday. She was like, "Where's the episode?" I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Last Friday, I didn't see it." I was like, "Jesus!" I'm like, "I'm sorry. College summer was really busy. It just like slipped away." She's like, "You recording one?" I was like, "Yes, it's gonna be this week." I was like, "Thank God." I was like, "All right, cool." No, my mom, like, having supportive parents, man, has been like a blessing. So I love those. I love my family, and like they always watch every episode. So really, really cool. So, all right, I think that's what we got, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for the insight. It was great talking, and honestly, getting to meet you a little bit more and actually being able to get to know you a little bit was really, really fun. To all you guys listening, really appreciate you guys listening and hanging out with us for about an hour. If you have any questions, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you like the video. I'm sure there'll be a couple clips coming out on Instagram of anything that we talked about. Like it, retweet it, whatever the hell we do with it.
Some comments, some questions if you got any.
Please, I'm looking at the comments in there, and I see positive reviews of people saying they enjoyed it, but hit me with some damn questions. I want some things. I want to know what the people want to know. So let me know, let us know. So maybe the next time that we're both on here, we can answer those things. So thank you again. Appreciate all the support as always. Let's get back to crushing college summer, man. Appreciate you. Let's go, man.